I think we have a responsibility as journalists and as documentary filmmakers to shed the light on stories that are usually underrepresented or misrepresented in the media. Even in the middle of a pandemic, we were able to take our audience with us to the Navajo Times newsroom to meet the men and women who are doing this job at the Navajo Times. My name is Leo Hamlin, and I'm the director of the People's Newspaper. The documentary was sponsored by a Pulitzer Center grant, and it was published in The New Yorker. We wanted to tell the story of the Navajo Times. It's the newspaper that covers the Navajo Nation, one of the largest native lands in the US that is spread across 4 states. The Navajo Times is very important to its community because they are very disconnected. Access to telephone service is very complicated, as well as radio, especially internet. So having a physical newspaper reach every household the way that the Navajo Times does every Thursday is actually really important, and it's part of the culture. The Navajo Times is an institution. It has been around for 60 years, and it's famous for being owned by its people. What that really means is that in the early 2000s, Tom Arviso, who you've met in the film, and a group of people have decided to gain their independence from their tribal government. In a lot of Native journalism, that has not been the case, so the government still has some sort of power over the newsrooms. That independence really matters because it's what sets journalism apart. If you're able to independently report on your leadership, then really you can hold them accountable. That accountability and the job that a journalist has is always important to democracy, but it's especially important during COVID-19. The COVID-19 pandemic hit the Navajo Nation especially hard. We had to be extra careful. We had to make sure that we were not going to make the situation worse and that we were taking every precaution possible. I think with this film, we really wanted to honor the reporters who work at the Navajo Times and, in a sense, honor all of the local journalists. It's a very difficult, arduous job, especially in the middle of a pandemic, but it's also such an important one. A lot of people have told us that during this pandemic, the information that they would get from the paper and from these reporters are really actually a matter of life or death. These journalists, they're essential workers. In the middle of a pandemic, to actually go and do this work, to keep your people informed, that's essential work. And these reporters that we filmed at the Navajo Times and that we spent time with, I think they really deserve to be seen as such. And hopefully that's what we were able to do in the People's Newspaper.